I was celebrating my sister's promotion when her boyfriend cornered me. "You're making me look bad," I laughed and said. "You don't need my help for that." He swung at me. What he didn't know was I'd been boxing for 12 years. He needed dental work after that night. 2 of his teeth hit the pavement before his body did. I remember the sound more than anything. This wet, cracking noise followed by the ping of enamel bouncing off concrete. Then the heavy thud of 220 pounds of former college linebacker crumpling like a marionette with cut strings. My knuckles were bleeding. His blood, not mine. The cartilage in his nose had made a satisfying crunch about 3 seconds earlier, and now he was on his back in the parking lot of Giordano's Italian kitchen, trying to figure out what planet he was on. Behind me, the restaurant door burst open. Light and noise spilled out. My sister's voice, high and panicked. "What happened? Oh my God, what happened?" I didn't turn around, just stood there, watching her boyfriend of 2 years spit blood onto the concrete, watching him try to push himself up and fail, watching the confusion in his eyes slowly crystallize into something like fear. "He swung first," I said. "My cousin Darnell was right behind Kayla. He'd followed Derek outside, seen the whole thing." "It's true," Darnell confirmed. "Derek threw the first punch. Jalen just finished it." Kayla looked down at Derek, at the blood pooling under his face, at the 2 teeth lying 3 feet away like discarded chiclets. "Derek, is that true?" He tried to answer. Couldn't. Just made this gurgling noise and rolled onto his side. And that's when I knew, with absolute certainty, that everything was about to change. For him, for my sister, for all of us. My name is Jalen Adebayo, 27 years old, high school history teacher by day, boxing coach at the community center 3 nights a week. I've been fighting since I was 15, when my dad enrolled me at Ironside Boxing Gym after I got jumped walking home from school. "You're small," Dad said. "Always gonna be small. But small and trained beats big and stupid every time." He was right. I went 47-3 as an amateur, won Golden Gloves at 17 in the 141-pound division. Could have gone pro, but I loved teaching more than I loved getting hit. So I hung up my competitive gloves at 22 and started coaching kids instead. These days, I train teenagers who remind me of myself. Undersized, overlooked, hungry for something to believe in. I teach them footwork and combinations and the most important lesson my father ever taught me. Never throw the first punch, but always throw the last. My sister Kayla is 4 years older than me. 31. Brilliant. Relentless. The kind of person who decides what she wants and then bulldozes through every obstacle until she gets it. She worked 3 jobs through law school. Waitressing, tutoring, and night shifts at a call center. Slept in her car between shifts sometimes because the drive home wasn't worth the gas. Failed the bar exam the first time and cried for 3 days straight before picking herself up and studying for 6 more months. Our dad died of a heart attack 2 weeks before she passed on her second try. Never got to see her sworn in. Never got to see her win her first case, or her 10th, or her 50th, but he would have been proud. We all were. Kayla made senior partner at Whitfield & Associates on a Tuesday in September. Youngest in the firm's history. First black woman to hold the position. Mom wanted to celebrate properly. Rented out the back room at Giordano's, this Italian place Dad used to take us for special occasions. Invited 40 people. Open bar, the works. It was supposed to be perfect. Then Derek showed up. Derek Mullins, 34 years old, regional sales manager for some pharmaceutical company I could never remember the name of. Drove a BMW he couldn't actually afford. Talked about money constantly, but somehow never had any. Kayla met him at a charity gala 2 years ago. He was handsome, confident, and charming in that aggressive way that works on people who don't know better. He pursued her relentlessly. Flowers at her office, surprise dinners, the whole performance. I hated him from the first handshake. It wasn't jealousy. I wanted my sister to be happy. Wanted her to find someone who deserved her. But there was something off about Derek. Something hollow behind the smile. Like he was always calculating, always performing, never quite present. The red flags started early. First dinner at Mom's house, he spent 45 minutes talking about his college football career. Linebacker at some Division III school nobody had heard of. Made it sound like he'd played in the NFL. Almost went pro, he said. 3rd glass of wine deep. Had scouts looking at me, but I blew out my knee junior year. Would have been a first-round pick otherwise. I Googled him later. He'd been 3rd string. Played in 4 games total. The scouts were figments of his imagination. Second red flag, the way he talked to Kayla. Not overtly mean, nothing you could point to and say, that's abuse. Just dismissive, condescending. Like she was a child who needed guidance. Babe, you're working too hard. It's not healthy. Kayla, you don't need to go to that conference. You've already made partner track. Honey, let me handle the wine order. You always pick the sweet stuff. Little things, constant things. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. 3rd red flag, the jealousy. Anytime Kayla mentioned a male colleague, Derek's jaw would tighten. Anytime she had a work dinner, he'd call 3 times to check in. Anytime she got recognition, a win, a promotion, a mention in the legal journal, he'd find a way to diminish it. That's great, babe, but did you hear about my deal? Closed the biggest account in company history. Everything was a competition, and he always had to win. I tried talking to Kayla about it. Once, she shut me down immediately. You don't understand our relationship, Jay. Derek's just, he has a big personality. He's supportive in his own way. He talked over you for 20 minutes at dinner. He was excited about his promotion. What promotion? He's had the same job for 3 years. It's coming. He's been promised. I let it go. You can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. All you can do is be there when they finally see the truth. I just didn't expect the truth to come out quite so dramatically. The promotion party was on a Saturday. Mom had been planning for 3 weeks. She'd coordinated with the restaurant, picked the menu, designed the invitations herself. Kayla's favorite foods: chicken parmesan, garlic bread, tiramisu, a slideshow of photos from law school, from her swearing-in ceremony, from every major milestone we could document. 40 people confirmed: aunts, uncles, cousins, family, friends. Her mentor from law school, Judge Patricia Holloway, drove in from Cleveland. Her best friend Simone flew in from Atlanta. Everyone was there by 6 except Derek. Kayla kept checking her phone, kept making excuses. Traffic, probably. He had a work thing. Running late. He'll be here any minute. He walked in at 6:47. 47 minutes late. No gift, no flowers, no apology. Just strolled through the door in a suit that cost more than he made in a week, grabbed a whiskey from the bar, and started working the room. But not to congratulate Kayla, to talk about himself. I watched from across the room as he cornered my Uncle Raymond, who'd driven 4 hours from Detroit for this party. Yeah, the BMW's great, but I'm thinking about upgrading. The new Porsche 911 GT3, that's the real deal. Thinking about getting one next year. Uncle Raymond, a retired auto worker who'd never made more than $45,000 a year in his life, nodded politely and tried to change the subject. So Kayla's really something, huh? Senior partner at 31. We're all proud. Oh yeah, she's great. But have you seen the new Cayenne? That's probably more practical for everyday driving. The GT3 would just be for weekends. I watched my uncle's eyes glaze over. Watched him excuse himself to get another drink. Watched Derek move on to his next victim. My Aunt Denise tried to talk about Kayla's landmark discrimination case. Derek interrupted to discuss his gym routine. My cousin Marcus asked about her plans for the new position. Derek redirected to a story about his college football days. My grandmother, 84 years old, barely able to hear, sat with Derek for 10 minutes. Later, she asked Mom, who was that young man who kept talking about his car? Kayla noticed. I could see it in her face, the tightness around her eyes, the fixed smile that didn't reach anywhere real. But she kept making excuses, kept pretending everything was fine. That's what she did, what she'd always done, until dinner. The speeches started around 8. Mom went first, got emotional talking about Dad, about how he'd always believed in Kayla, about how proud he'd be today. Half the room was crying by the end. Judge Holloway spoke next, 23 years on the bench, one of the most respected jurists in Ohio. She talked about mentoring Kayla, about watching her grow from a nervous first-year student into a formidable attorney. I've seen a lot of young lawyers come through my courtroom, she said. Most of them are adequate. Some are good. Kayla is exceptional. She's going to change this profession for the better. The room applauded. Kayla wiped her eyes. Then it was her turn. She stood up slowly, hands shaking slightly. She'd always hated public speaking, even in court. She had notes on little index cards, probably spent hours preparing. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. This means more to me than you know. When I started law school, I wasn't sure I belonged. I was one of 3 black students in my year. I worked 3 jobs just to stay enrolled. There were nights I wanted to quit. Nights I almost did. She looked at Mom, at me, at the room full of people who'd supported her. But I had people who believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. My mom, who worked double shifts so I could focus on studying. My brother Jalen, who drove 6 hours to bring me groceries when I couldn't afford food. My dad, who told me every single day that I was going to be somebody. Her voice cracked. She paused, collected herself. That's when Derek's phone rang. Not vibrated, rang, full volume. Some obnoxious hip-hop ringtone he'd downloaded to sound cool, and he answered it, at the table, in the middle of her speech. Yeah, bro. Nah, I'm at this thing. Some lawyer party. It's boring as hell. Bunch of attorneys patting themselves on the back. I'll call you after. He didn't whisper. Didn't even try to be subtle. Just had a full conversation while my sister stood frozen at the front of the room, mid-sentence, watching her boyfriend of 2 years tell someone her promotion party was boring. Half the room heard. My Aunt Denise gasped audibly. Judge Holloway's face went cold. Mom looked like she wanted to throw something. Kayla's voice faltered. She rushed through the rest of her speech, thanking people she'd meant to thank properly, skipping the parts about her dad that she'd clearly rehearsed, and sat down with tears in her eyes that had nothing to do with happiness. Derek didn't notice, too busy laughing at his phone. I watched my sister wipe her eyes with her napkin. I watched my mother's hands shake with suppressed rage. I watched 40 people shift uncomfortably while Derek scrolled through Instagram, completely oblivious to the damage he'd just done. And something in me snapped. I stood up, clinked my glass with a fork. The room went quiet. Derek didn't even look up from his phone. I want to say something about my sister. Kayla looked at me, confused. This wasn't planned. When I was 16, I got jumped walking home from school. 3 kids beat me pretty bad. Broke my nose, cracked 2 ribs. I came home crying, told Kayla I never wanted to go outside again. The room was silent. Derek was still scrolling. You know what she did? She skipped her shift at the restaurant, a shift she needed to pay her rent, and sat with me all night. Told me stories about our dad, about how he'd been bullied as a kid too, about how he learned to stand up for himself, not by fighting back, but by becoming someone worth respecting. I looked at my sister. Her eyes were wet. Then the next morning, she drove me to the boxing gym, said if I was going to learn to fight, I might as well learn to fight properly. Stayed with me for my first lesson, cheered me on at my first match, took a bus across the state to watch me win Golden Gloves. Mom was crying now. So was Aunt Denise. Kayla worked 3 jobs through law school, slept in her car between shifts, studied in parking lots and hospital waiting rooms and anywhere she could find light. She failed the bar the first time, took it again 6 months later, 2 weeks after our dad died. aside and pass, because that's who she is. She doesn't quit. She doesn't give up. She just keeps going until she gets where she needs to be. I raised my glass. Our dad would be proud of you, Kay. We all are. You earned this. Every single piece of it. The room erupted. Applause, tears, standing ovation. Judge Holloway was clapping so hard I thought she'd hurt herself. Kayla was sobbing now. Good tears. Real tears. She mouthed, "Thank you," across the room. Everyone was celebrating. Everyone except Derek. I heard him mutter something under his breath. Didn't catch all of it. Just the word dramatic. 20 minutes later, I stepped outside. Needed air. Needed to cool down before I did something I'd regret. The parking lot was quiet. October night. Cool enough to see my breath. I leaned against the brick wall and tried to slow my heart rate. The door opened behind me. I didn't have to turn around to know who it was. "We need to talk." Derek's voice. Tight. Angry. I stayed where I was. "About what?" "About you embarrassing me in there." Now I turned. He was standing 3 feet away. Jaw clenched. Fists balled at his sides. The whiskey was strong on his breath. I could smell it from where I stood. "Embarrassing you?" I gave a toast to my sister. All that she's so amazing garbage. The crying, the standing ovation. "You made me look like an asshole." "Derek, you answered your phone during her speech." "It was important." "More important than her?" His eye twitched. "You don't know anything about our relationship. I know she cries after half your dates. I know she apologizes to Mom for your behavior. I know she deserves better." He stepped closer. Into my space, the way guys do when they want to intimidate. "Watch your mouth." "Or what?" "Or I'll teach you some respect." I almost laughed. "You? Teach me respect? You think because you're her little brother you can talk to me like that? I'm the one who's going to marry her. You're just the annoying kid who won't take a hint." "Marry her?" "Derek, you showed up an hour late without a gift and spent the whole night talking about your car. I had work. You had narcissism." His face went red. Purple, almost. "I'm sick of you. Sick of your whole family looking at me like I'm not good enough. Maybe you should take the hint. Maybe you should shut your mouth before I shut it for you." I stayed perfectly still, relaxed my shoulders, dropped my hands to my sides. "Try it." He shoved me, both palms to my chest, hard enough to push most people off balance. I didn't move. 12 years of boxing teaches you a lot of things. Footwork, timing, how to read an opponent. But mostly, it teaches you how to stay grounded, how to absorb force and redirect it, how to make yourself immovable. Derek's eyes widened slightly. He hadn't expected that. "Hit me back," he growled. "Give me a reason." I smiled. "You sure you want that? You think I'm scared of you, little pretty boy? I played linebacker in college. I'll put you through that wall. I boxed for 12 years. Golden gloves at 17, 136 fights, amateur and exhibition combined. You're not gonna put me anywhere." His smile flickered just for a second. "You're bluffing." He swung. Wide, looping right hand, telegraphed from a mile away. The kind of hunched drunk guys throw at bars when they've never been in a real fight. I slipped left. His fist caught nothing but air. Before he could reset, I jabbed. Straight left to the nose. Felt the cartilage crunch under my knuckles. He stumbled back, blood pouring immediately, eyes watering. "What the f—" He swung again. Wild right hook. More arm than hip. No power. I stepped inside. Let his momentum carry him past me. Drove a right hook into his ribs. He folded. Made this wheezing sound as the air left his body. I could have stopped there. Probably should have. But I thought about Kayla. About 2 years of watching her shrink. About the way she'd rushed through her speech. About the tears she'd tried to hide. I threw the uppercut. Clean. Right on the button. His head snapped back like a Pez dispenser. He went down. Hit the concrete flat on his back. 2 teeth flew out. Actually flew. Spinning through the air like tiny white dice. He didn't get up. That's when the door opened. The aftermath was chaos. Kayla ran to Derek first. Instinct, I guess. 2 years of programming. But when she saw his face, saw the blood pooling on the concrete, saw the teeth lying 3 feet away, she stopped. "What happened?" "He swung first," I said. For the second time that night. Darnell backed me up. I saw the whole thing. Came out to check on Jay. Derek was in his face. Pushed him. Threw the first punch. Other people were spilling out of the restaurant now. My mom, Uncle Raymond, Judge Holloway, who assessed the scene with the practiced eye of someone who'd seen a lot of assault cases. Derek was trying to sit up. Blood everywhere. His nose, his mouth, his formerly white shirt. "He attacked me," Derek slurred. "That psycho attacked me. I want him arrested." Mom looked at me, at my bloody knuckles, at Derek on the ground. "Jalen?" He followed me outside, got in my face, shoved me, swung at me. I held up my hands. "Self-defense." "That's a lie." Derek was on his feet now, swaying. "He provoked me. He's been trying to break us up since day one." Judge Holloway stepped forward. "I'm Patricia Holloway, Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas. I've been on the bench for 23 years. Derek, shut up. "I heard raised voices through the door. Came out just as you threw the first punch." She looked at him with undisguised contempt. "From where I was standing, this young man acted in self-defense. You weren't. I'm also a witness to your behavior this evening. Arriving late to your girlfriend's celebration. Talking on your phone during her speech. Making the entire event about yourself." She shook her head. "I've seen a lot of unimpressive men in my courtroom, Mr. Mullins. You're not even memorable enough to make that list." She turned to Kayla. "Your brother defended your honor. He also broke this man's nose and possibly his jaw. Given the circumstances, I'd suggest everyone goes home and decides whether they want to involve the police." Derek spit blood onto the concrete. "I'm pressing charges. Assault, battery. That's jail time." "You could do that," Judge Holloway said calmly. "But given that multiple witnesses saw you throw the first punch, you'd likely face charges yourself. And I imagine your employer would be interested to know that a regional sales manager was arrested for starting a fight at a family event." Derek's face went pale. Well, paler than the blood loss had already made it. "This isn't over," he said, but the threat was hollow. Even he knew it. Kayla hadn't said a word since asking what happened. She just stood there, there, staring at Derek like she was seeing him for the first time. Kayla, baby. Derek reached for her. Come on, let's go home. We can talk about this. She stepped back. Don't touch me. Babe, you attacked my little brother at my promotion dinner in front of my entire family. He provoked me. He was talking shit, saying you deserved better. I do deserve better. Silence, the kind that stretches. What? I do deserve better, Derek. I've known it for months. I just didn't want to admit it. Kayla, come on. We've been together 2 years. 2 years of you making everything about yourself. 2 years of you diminishing everything I accomplish. 2 years of you treating my family like they're beneath you. Her voice was shaking, but not with fear. With something else. Something stronger. You answered your phone during my speech. You called my promotion party boring. You couldn't even show up on time. I was working. You were establishing dominance. That's all you ever do. Everything is a competition with you, and you always have to win, even when there's nothing to win. She took another step back. We're done. Derek's face cycled through about 6 emotions. Shock, anger, desperation, more anger. You're making a mistake. You'll never find someone like me. Kayla actually laughed. Bitter. Real. That's the point. She turned and walked back inside. Didn't look back once. Derek stood there, bleeding, swaying, watching the best thing that ever happened to him walk away. Then he looked at me. This is your fault. I shook my head. Nah, Derek. This was always coming. I just accelerated the timeline. I followed my sister inside. Behind me, I heard him finally call someone. Probably an Uber. Probably to the emergency room. I didn't care. The rest of the night is a blur. Kayla cried for about 20 minutes. Relief more than sadness. 2 years of tension finally breaking. Mom held her. I held her. The whole family rotated through, offering support. Judge Holloway caught me near the bar around 10 taum. That was a nice uppercut. I blinked. Excuse me? I saw the end of it. Through the window. She smiled slightly. Good technique. Your trainer did excellent work. My dad took me to the gym after I got jumped. Smart man. Boxing teaches discipline, respect, controlled aggression. She sipped her wine. It also teaches you how to end a fight quickly, which you did admirably. I shouldn't have hit him that hard. He deserved worse. She set down her glass. For what it's worth, I meant what I said. If he tries to press charges, I'll testify. So will the other witnesses. He threw the first punch. He followed you outside. He initiated the confrontation. Thank you. Thank your sister. She's going to be an exceptional attorney. I'm just glad she won't have that anchor dragging her down anymore. She patted my shoulder and walked away. Derek did try to press charges. Showed up at the police station Monday morning with his lawyer, some ambulance chaser named Gerald Frost, who'd represented him in a fender bender case 2 years earlier. Filed a complaint for assault and battery. Detective Marcus Washington, 18 years on the force, was assigned to the case. He interviewed me on Tuesday. So Mr. Mullins claims you attacked him unprovoked in the parking lot. That's not what happened. Tell me your version. I told him everything. The party, Derek's behavior, the confrontation outside, the shove, the swing. Detective Washington took notes. Then he showed me something on his phone. The restaurant has security cameras in the parking lot. We pulled the footage this morning. The video was grainy, but clear enough. You could see Derek follow me outside. See him get in my face. See him shove me. See him throw the first punch. You could also see my response. All 3 hits. The jab, the hook, the uppercut. That's a hell of a combination, Washington said, almost admiringly. I boxed competitively for 12 years. I can tell. He put his phone away. Based on the footage and witness statements, Mr. Mullins initiated the physical confrontation. You responded with proportionate force. Proportionate? I broke his nose. He threw a punch. You defended yourself. Under Ohio law, you're entitled to use reasonable force to protect yourself from imminent harm. He shrugged. 2 teeth is unfortunate, but not excessive given the circumstances. So what happens now? I'm going to recommend the prosecutor decline charges against you. I'm also going to recommend they consider filing assault charges against Mr. Mullins for initiating the fight. He paused. Though between you and me, I doubt the prosecutor will bother. Too much paperwork for a fistfight that lasted 10 seconds. He was right. The DA's office declined to file charges against either of us. Case closed. But that wasn't the end of Derek's problems. The story spread. Small community. Lots of witnesses. By Wednesday, everyone in Kayla's professional circle knew what had happened at her promotion party. By Friday, it had reached Derek's. His company, Meridian Pharmaceuticals, had a strict code of conduct. Employees were expected to maintain professional behavior at all times, especially at public events. Getting into a fistfight at a family dinner and losing badly didn't exactly fit the brand. Derek was placed on administrative leave pending an internal investigation. When the investigation revealed that he'd lied about the incident, claimed he was attacked without warning despite video evidence to the contrary, the leave became permanent. He was fired 3 weeks after the party. I know this because Kayla told me. She'd heard from mutual friends. Derek had been posting on LinkedIn about wrongful termination and toxic workplace culture, but nobody was buying it. His professional reputation was shot. Regional sales manager at 34, now unemployed with a gap on his resume and a story that didn't hold up to scrutiny. The BMW got repossessed 2 months later. He couldn't make the payments without the salary. The apartment followed. He moved back in with his parents in Cincinnati. Last I heard, he was working at a car dealership. Sales associate. Entry level. Karma's a funny thing. Kayla thrived. She threw herself into her new role at the firm. Won 3 major cases in her first 6 months as senior partner. Got profiled in the local business journal. Started mentoring young black women who wanted to pursue law. 6 months after the party, she texted me a screenshot. Derek had tried to follow her on Instagram. She'd blocked him. He messaged me first. Said he missed what we had. Can you believe that? What did you say? Nothing. Blocked him and moved on. Life's too short. short for men who can't handle women who are better than them. I laughed out loud. She started dating again about 8 months later. A guy named Marcus, pediatric surgeon, met him at a charity event. Quiet, kind, actually listened when she talked. First time I met him, he showed up to dinner early with flowers for Mom and a bottle of my favorite bourbon for me. Kayla told me about the party, he said quietly, while she was in the bathroom. The promotion one. I tensed. And I just want you to know, I would never disrespect her like that. Ever. He met my eyes. Your sister is the most impressive person I've ever met. I'm lucky she even talks to me. I liked him immediately. They got engaged last month. Weddings in the spring. The night of the fight, after everyone had gone home, Kayla and I sat on Mom's porch past midnight. Cold enough to see our breath. Neither of us wanted to go to sleep. You didn't have to do that, she said finally. Do what? The toast, the fight, any of it. I looked at her. My sister. The person who'd driven me to my first boxing lesson. Who'd cheered at my matches. Who'd believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Yeah, I said. I did. She was quiet for a while. Then, I knew he was wrong for me. For a long time. I didn't want to admit I'd wasted 2 years on someone who didn't deserve them. That's not wasted time. That's learning. Learning what? Learning what you don't want. So you can recognize what you do. She laughed, leaned her head on my shoulder. When did you get so wise? Somewhere between the jab and the uppercut. She punched my arm, lightly, the way she used to when we were kids. Thank you, Jay, for everything. That's what little brothers are for. We sat there until the cold drove us inside, until the stars started to fade, until the night finally ended and something new could begin.